Hello again. I recently shot two datasets of M42, which started out as I wanted to do as comparisons. Wanted to do smaller exposures for the same amount of duration and longer exposures for the same amount of duration and compare the results. These are the results. This was an LRGB file of M42. We have a finished 60-second stack, so that's 30 60 seconds per channel finished. That's a processed image, and this was the same duration but using 300 seconds and 6 of them per channel for the same amount of total exposure time. Processed in, like I said, as near as I could get to identical. A lot more detail in here with the dust and whatnot. Then I started doing a bit of research and looking into ways that, well, this is a great target for doing some HDR because of the nature of M42. With short exposures, you can get in nice and on the core without it, blowing it out. But then you want to have the longer exposure so you can get the dust around and you can get a lot more of the finer detail. And if we just get rid of these, if I open up, oops. Right, this was a 60-second set. These are the master files. These are the ones I've been working with, so that's the master luminance which we're going to use again. Now, these were the original files. So if we look at if we just take the luminance, so 60-second luminance, if I just turn that off, you can see in the center, the core is not overly exposed, which is what we want. And if we look at then compared to a 300-second one, oops, masters luminance, and we turn that off. As you can see, that is actually already turned off. So this is not auto stretch, that's just as it was. So you can see the difference between the two exposures. The core on this one, a lot more blown out. We do have a lot more detail, which is obviously what I want to aim for. Now, this little rundown, what I'm going to do is create two new image stacks and then use a process called Hdr Composition to bring these two exposure lengths together to create master files, which we will then process through to the final image. So we will get the best of this and also the best of this, hopefully in one image. Now, I've already done all the boring stacking because no one wants to see that. I've created the folder and I've already pre-aligned these files already. So they are star aligned to each other. They've been cropped so the image geometries are the same. So we have our 60-second luminance, our 300-second luminance, our 60-second RGB, and a 300-second RGB. So if we just look at just for instance, if we look at that, that's just stacked, nothing done to it. That's just how it is. You can see it's still linear. And if we compare that also to the 60-second RGB, turn off the auto stretch, so you can see straight away, like, big dynamic range shift here. You can actually start to make out trapezium. Even 60 seconds is probably a little bit too much. 45, 30 would have brought out a little bit more. But the beauty of HDR composition is you can stack multiple exposure lengths. So we could do 30, 60, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, and then combine them all together. And then using HDR transformation, we can compress it to get all the detail that we want. So in the next step, what I'm going to do is just going to run through and stack the working files together.